Welcome to 60 Skills. Today's topic is, how does money magic work? Alright, money magic is an interesting thing. You see, the reality of the matter is, most of these things can only work with you as much as you have put some effort out there to be worked with. So a classical example that is used is a bum on a street corner works a killer Jupiter ritual. And at the end of the day, all they find is a wallet with $200 in it. Because that's as much work as that individual had put in to earning a living. On the other hand, money magic is very good for accelerating the growth of a business, assuming you have put adequate effort and time into the business. And this is one of these key things involving magic that often receives short shrift. Anything visualized with enough energy and intent long enough on the astral will eventually manifest in the physical if it is in fact physically possible to occur. But notice the part of you have to have put the time and the work in first. Without that, money magic really doesn't have a whole lot to work with. Now that said, I have seen some very hard and industrious people completely knock it out of the park with their personal businesses and endeavors. Because they'd already put the time in, they just needed a little nudge. And this is the thing that money magic most often does. It most often presents an opportunity. Now, whether you choose to take that opportunity or not, that's entirely up to you. But the simple fact of the matter is, it can't make something out of nothing. And this appears to be one of the universal truths involving anything involving magic. Magic in general works as an excellent accelerant for work you've already done, but it is not a replacement for work you haven't done. So there are also many other parallels to this. So the different techniques that increase endurance and physical strength and body connectivity are all great, but if you want to be a pro MMA fighter, you have to have your basic skills and conditioning down first. In this case, magic can most definitely add that extra 2 or 3% that takes you from an outstanding performance to a world-class one. But that extra 2 to 3% is not going to matter at all if you haven't done your conditioning, you haven't learned your basic combos and techniques, and done all the drills necessary to develop true fighting skill. Likewise, when it comes to money magic, again, and I'm being repetitive here for a reason, because I get asked about this a lot, if work hasn't been done, there's nothing to leverage. So I'm not a huge fan of the Lemegeton, and I've only worked with it a little bit. But once I was contacted by a friend for some help with debt collection. He was running a business, and this was pre-COVID, by the way, and a bunch of his vendors basically weren't paying him. He'd been very persistent. He was thinking about going out to a formal bill collector, but realizing this would be relatively expensive, and he contacted me. So I contacted an appropriate spirit, I won't tell you one, and engaged the appropriate rituals. It actually worked quite well, and my friend recovered about 40% of his money within a couple of weeks, which, considering the fact that many of these vendors had been stiff-arming him for the better part of 6 months, is pretty impressive. Now, that said, working with the entity in question was not terribly fun on my end, and I never did it again. Additionally, at least one of the people that I was attempting to collect from had some kind of magical protection about them. Probably something simple like a gypsy amulet or whatever. So when I sent the entity out, it actually rebounded on me at a certain point. Now again, that was relatively easy to take care of and not that big a deal, because this individual did in fact owe my friend quite a bit of money. But again, if I had simply sent this entity out to collect money from people who didn't owe my friend anything, nothing would have happened, because that work wouldn't have been done. So this is one of the things about magic that people have to keep in mind. It's an excellent accelerant, it is an excellent amplifier, particularly at the energetic level, but it is in no way a replacement for work that has not been done. So what I tell most people is, if you're having problems with your financial life, get busy. Look at the fundamentals of running a business or being employed. And this also means you need to pay attention to what you do. If you're doing something that people don't care about, don't be surprised when you can't make a living at it. Whether you love the endeavor or not is really irrelevant. Because in terms of supporting yourself in society, it really comes back to providing value to other people. And if you're doing something that other people don't value at all, well, you're going to have a hard time of it. So these are some things to think about, and I hope to see you again soon. Be well.